on the line with us is Alexis Baden-Mayer, the political director with the Organic Consumers Association. OrganicConsumers.org is the website. You can tweet her at Alexis Baden, M-A-Y-E. Do I have that right, Alexis? Oh, hang on just a second. I've got to put you on the phone. That always helps, doesn't it? Hang on. Alexis.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. The Twitter handle I have written down here for you does not have an R at the end of Mayer. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Or people can tweet you at Organic Consumers. So we have a very important deadline coming up at the end of this week. Tell us about this.
Well, the DARK Act, a bill that would take the labels that Vermont has given us that say produced with genetic engineering off of the packages. This law was just passed by Congress. It's sitting on the president's desk. He has until the end of this week to veto it. And we have just reached over 100,000 signatures on the official whitehouse.gov petition. So he now must answer to us. And I hope his answer is a veto of S-764.
Okay, the bill is S-764. It's we refer to it as the DARK Act. What's the official? I'm sure that they gave some wonderful name to it, like George Bush's Clean Air Act, which reduced clean air standards. What do they call this thing officially?
Well, funny, it was actually stuck into a bill to defund Planned Parenthood, but they had taken out the Planned Parenthood part and stuck in the GMO labeling part, and that had been stuck into a fee grant colleges, I think, bill. So it's hard to find this bill by any official name. So we just call it the DARK Act. You have to find it by S-764.
Okay, so S-764, Senate Bill 764. And some backstory here. Vermont spent 2 years, the Vermont legislature spent 2 years carefully evaluating the pros and cons of labeling genetically modified foods that contain genetically modified organisms, and came up with what seems to be a very rational label requirement, which went into effect on June 1st. And because of that, companies like Coca-Cola and Kellogg's and Campbell and frankly, companies all across the United States have started labeling their products as to whether they do or don't contain genetically modified organisms. And that was too much for Monsanto? Is that what happened?
Yeah, they'll be sorry, because labeling was the reasonable option. And now the thrust of the movement and all of our resources are going to go to bans at the local level. We're supporting Sonoma County, which if it takes on a GMO ban, it will create a big block of counties from Jackson County, Oregon, all the way down to Marin County, California, that will be completely GMO-free.
Wow. Wow. So this legislation is an effort to roll back the Vermont law and replace it with what?
Well, nothing, basically. They have defined what they call bioengineered foods so narrowly that I cannot think of one GMO food that's currently labeled under the Vermont law that would be labeled under the federal law. And so at this point, if President Obama does allow this law to go into effect, we are going to block the regulations. We're going to make sure these regulations never take effect because the law is so broken with this terrible definition of GMO.
Wow. Wow. So, and we fought the fight on this thing. This was a bill put forward by Debbie Stabenow, the Democrat, and Senator Roberts, the Republican, as I recall. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
Yeah, and we lobbied them to no effect. There were a couple of Democrats, I guess, who bailed at the last minute on supporting this. But this passed both the House and the Senate with overwhelming Republican support and a couple of Democratic votes. And now it's on the desk of a Democratic president. And so what should people do, Alexis, if they want President Obama to veto the DARK Act, Senate Bill 764?
Let's keep collecting signatures on the official whitehouse.gov petition. If you Google We the People, whitehouse.gov, you'll get the petition site. And if you scroll down, you'll see a petition that says veto S-764. Please sign that petition because that's what they're really counting. And now that President Obama must give us an answer, I think he'll be more likely to give us the answer that we want if we get an overwhelming number of people on that petition.
Alexis, am I correct in assuming that if people go to OrganicConsumers.org, they'll find a link?
That's right. And you can also find it through Facebook and Twitter. If you use the hashtag VetoDarkAct, you'll find it as well.
Great. Alexis Baden-Mayer, Political Director of the Organic Consumers Association, organicconsumers.org is the website. Alexis, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thom, thank you so much.
Great talking with you, and I look forward to future conversations. It's much appreciated. You're doing great work.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.